Hi, Year 11. So this is lesson 3, percentages, and we're going to go through the notes so that way you can complete them, and that way it can help you complete your set questions, which is exercise 1A. This is just a breakdown of all the different ways you can go from fractions, decimals, and percentages. So here we've got percentage to fraction, fraction to percentage, percentage to decimal, decimal to percentage. So let's go straight into that. Converting a percentage to a fraction. So the first thing you'll need to do is just divide by 100 and then simplify. So to go from 57% into a fraction, divided by 100. And if you can simplify it, well, simplify it. But in this case, there is no number that simplifies with a 57 and a 100. So we leave it like that. Same thing with this one. 60 divided by 100. Usually if I have a 0 on top and a 0 on the bottom, then I can just cross them out. So cross off 1 0 on the top, 1 0 on the bottom. You've got 6 and 10, which simplifies down to 3 and 5. That's because, those curious, I divided both of these by 2. I halved both the numbers, and that's what got me 3 out of 5. To go from a fraction to a percentage, we do the opposite, and we multiply by 100. So 19 over 20 times 100. And all you'll need to do is use your calculator. So let's open that up and work that out. So what is 19 divided by 20? That equals that. And then we times it by 100, which gives us 95. So all you need to do really is put in 19 divided by 20 in your calculator and then times it by 100. Now this one here is a little bit trickier, but the first thing you'll need to do, because it's a mixed fraction, the first thing you'll need to do is convert it into an improper fraction. And for those who remember primary school a long time ago now, you will multiply the number at the front, which is the 4, with the 8, which is the number at the bottom. So 4 times 8, and then add the number that's on top, plus 3. That equals 32 plus 3, which is 35, and then we put it over the original denominator. So that is an improper fraction. So all we need to do now, 35 divided by 8 times 100. Go to our calculator. 35 divided by 8 times 100. And that should get you 437.5%. Now let's focus on converting a percentage to a decimal. So we just need to divide by 100. So 15 divided by 100, and then we put in our calculator, which is 0.15. Same thing with the improper fraction here. Let's turn this into an improper fraction. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11 over 4. That looks like a 7. Let's make that an 11. And then we put that in our calculator. And we get 2.75. So here we have decimal to a percentage. So all we need to do is just multiply by 100. 0.07 times 100. And that should get you 7%. Same with this one, 1.13 times 100, and that should get you 113%. So you can have a go at these practice questions. That's part of your homework. It's the exact same thing as from above. Now what we want to do is we want to order all these numbers in order from smallest to largest. That's what it means by ascending order. Okay, so we need to make sure all of these are in decimals, and that way we can just order them. So 45%, if you follow the rules from above, would be 0.45. If you follow the rules from above for a fraction to a decimal, that would be 0.7. This stays the same because it's a decimal. 80% would become 0.8. 2.5 would be the same as, just at the top of my mind, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 on 2. And if you convert that to a decimal, well, you're going to get 2.5. 100% is just 1 and 1.54. Okay, so now we want to do the order from smallest to largest. I think the smallest number here is 0.36. The next smallest would be 0.45, I believe. Yep. Then 0.7. Then 0.8. Then 1. Then 1.54. And then 2.5. So the question is to order these from smallest to largest. So let's just see, this matches up with this. This matches up with this, with this. If only I was a bit neater, this might make a bit more sense, but hopefully you understand the general idea of what we're doing. Converting it to a decimal first, changing the order of the decimals. Now let's just bring back the originals. So 0.36 was just a decimal to begin with. 0.45 was 45%. 0.7 was 7 over 10. 0.8 was 80%. 1 was 100%. 1.54 was just 1.54. And 2.5 was 2.5 as a fraction. So the exact same thing is what I want you guys to do here. Maybe in your notes you can change this to original. Okay, because that's what we just did. Finding a percentage of a quantity. Okay, so to find the percentage of a quantity, what you will need to do is just find the percentage of an amount. Okay, and then it says to correct the 3 significant figures. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to work them all out. Now I've got them all written here, so I might just make it nice and neat for you guys. This should be 26 over 100 instead of 25, and then you multiply it by 1,500, which gets you, instead of 375, which gets you 390. So make sure we copy that down properly. All you need to do is put this in your calculator, multiply it by the number, which is 1,500, and then you should get your answer. With this one here, same thing. Okay, 17% of 840, okay, divide it by 100, and then times it by the amount. That's what gets you 142.8 litres. Don't forget to put the unit at the end there. And the same thing here, divide the percentage by 100 and then multiply it by the actual number. Now this should be by 4 million, so that's probably correct. Let me just double check. Yeah, and that would be correct. So that's the full proper working out for this question. Now, what we want to do is we want to round to 3 significant figures. If we remember that from last lesson, here's our number, 142.8. Let's first figure out how many of these numbers are significant. All of them are significant because they're all non-zeros. So we're going to point to the third significant number, circle the number after, and then what we want to do is keep it as, actually no, not keep it, round up. So we want to go to 143 litres. This number here, let's write out again, 26,800. Which numbers are the significant ones? Well, it's only the first 3 that are significant because the rest are zeros, and it isn't a decimal. So we're going to point to the third number, circle the one after it, Now that's a low number, so we're just going to keep it as 268 and then the 2 zeros again, because we don't want to completely change the number. So this still is 3 significant numbers. Let's move on to the next question. So in a library, there are 24 children, 36 women, and 42 men. What is the percentage of women visiting the library? Give your answer to 2 decimal places. So how many people are there in total? To work that out, we just need to add 24 with 36 with 42, and that should give us an answer of 102 total people. To work out the percentage of women in the library, we just want to divide 36, because it's 36 women, by the total number of people. Okay, so 36 women, 102 people, and then multiply that by 100. This is how we get our answer to 2 decimal places. All right, so a group of students practicing their basketball free throws. Each student has 4 shots and the results are displayed in the table. Complete the table to show the percentage of students for each result. Now these are the number of people. 3 people did not get any in. So how do we work out what the percentage is for those who got none in? Well, there is 3 students who got none in out of a total number of 30 students. Well, how do I know there's 30 students? What we need to do is we need to add up all these numbers. Let's see. 3 plus 11 is 14, 24, 28, 30. So the first thing we probably should have done was to write the total being 30. So 3 out of 30 students got nothing in, and to turn that into a percentage, we multiply it by 100, which gives me an answer of 10%. 11 out of 30 students got 1 shot in, so we do that as a fraction and we multiply it by 100. That should get you 36.66%. So for those of you who don't know how I got that answer, 11 divided by 30, press enter, and then times it by 100. 36.667. 10 students got 2 shots in, so 10 out of 30 times 100, and that should give me 33%, but let's double check. 10 divided by 30 times 100, 33.33. 4 students got 30, times that by 100. 4 students got all 3 shots in, take that back. 4 divided by 30 times 100, 13.33. And therefore 2 students got all of their shots in, 2 out of 30 of them, times it by 100. And that gets me 2 divided by 30 times 100, 6.66%. Now, a lot of my students just write 100% in here, but what I want you to do to make sure you got all your answers correct is just add them all up, just to see if you've done everything correctly. If you've done everything correctly, then you should get a really number close to 100. Okay, so that's good. Even though it's not exactly 100, we know with rounding errors that we should have, but this will add up to 100%. What percentage of students made more than half their shots? Okay, so this is each student had 4 shots, so which percentage of students had more than half their shots go in? Half of their shots would be 2, so we're looking at 3 or more, which is these 2 groups here. 13.33% plus 6.66%, that gives me 20%. What percentage of students made 1 or less shots? 1 or less. which means these two groups here. 10 plus 36, 0.66, which gives me 46.66%. And that is it for lesson 3. So hopefully you've completed all these notes, and we can go straight to exercise 1A to help you complete those questions. Thank you and good luck.